Hello! My name is Filqon, and welcome to the first part of a multi-part series where I'll be recreating Mario Odyssey in Minecraft. The very first kingdom on my to-do list is, of course, the Cap Kingdom, which is the very start of the game. If you wish to skip to the final product, you can skip to the timestamp that you see now in the middle of your screen. And of course, if you want to see more and make sure you don't miss it, please make sure to subscribe and like the video so I know that it's worth the countless hours of time that I'm putting into it. And without further ado, let's get into the actual building. Now, the first thing I wanted to do was basically just get a rough shape down of exactly what the main island of the Cap Kingdom will look like. And this is just the first of 2 islands, not counting the main tower. So, just one small part of the build for now, but I wanted to get a basic shape down, and after that, I wanted to make sure I got the basic landmarks, like the hills, the bushes, and the bridge. As you can see, I got the initial scale of this very wrong, but I get it all fixed up in the end. You can see I also tried my best to match the texture of the actual ground in the Cap Kingdom a lot better than I did originally, because there's very clearly 2 gray shades in the real Cap Kingdom in Mario Odyssey. And unfortunately I can't do the specific diagonal lines that they do in the real game, but as long as I have these 2 different shades of gray, I think it looks a lot better than just one flat tone. With the basics of the first island complete, I can now move on to the second one, which is considerably more complicated. And you'll see throughout this that I learned my lessons from the first time around, and instead of getting the shape down first, I'm getting the landmarks down first, so I don't have to go back and change everything after. But I do have to get some basic platform to start off of so I can actually start building. There are still several details up top that I have to figure out, but you can see I did start working on the actual shaping of this island a little bit more in this part here, because it was crucial to getting the rest of the landmarks down in the right positions, but it's a start towards what you'll be seeing again soon once I get most of these details down. With the shaping and basic detailing done for the second island, it was time to move on to the bridge and finally just texturing the ground so it wasn't emerald blocks. And then we can basically move on to the Cap Tower. Alright, and with both the main islands and both the bridges done, it was time to move on to the final piece of the puzzle. The Cap Kingdom Tower. And I'll just give you a heads up. The top of this is made with black concrete, and it's incredibly difficult to see depth in the build throughout this time lapse, so keep that in mind, but I'll try to get the best angles I can so you can still see everything. Sorry for interrupting your time lapse, but I just have to say, this thing that this ramp thing I'm building right now was awful. Like, this was the worst part of the entire build for me, because the hat at the top, right, it like extends outwards, it gets a little bigger as it goes up instead of smaller, and the ramp follows it perfectly in the game, and it's all flush and pretty and flat in the game. And I simply could not replicate that in Minecraft. It just would not happen for me. So I tried my best, and it doesn't look terrible in the end, but just thought I'd rant to you for a second. Let's get back into it. And with the cap tower done, along with the 2 main islands and 2 bridges, that is the majority of the foundation for this build complete. Which means we can move on to the most important part of the entire Cap Kingdom, and that is the fog that you see surrounding everything in the kingdom. It's very important. And in order to do that, I'll be using a very well-known trick around the Minecraft community, and that is the fog trick. And basically all you need is 8 layers of glass separated by 1 block each time, with sea lanterns covered by a carpet of your choosing. And you can choose any color of glass, any color of carpet to get the desired fog effect you want. And for this I'm using 1 white glass, 4 light gray glass, and 3 gray glass, going from lightest to darkest down the bottom with a white carpet at the bottom. And it gives you this really cool fog effect that you see right there. And I'm going to be doing that fog effect everywhere, starting from that corner. As you can see, I got a little ahead of myself and started, and it's going to be a really big perimeter. I'm gonna need to dig that hole down around about 18 blocks, and then do this layering process in that entire layer. Now, unfortunately, my poor little computer cannot handle all that, and although I was able to do it with World Edit, I am kind of destroying and placing like 200,000 blocks at a time, and I am unable to record a time lapse of that at the same time as it's happening, so we're gonna have to do a progress report instead, step by step, but it'll be quick, and don't worry, you won't lose any enjoyment from the time lapse anyway. So let's get right into that. First, I had to dig this really large hole, and like I said, it's around about 18 blocks deep, and I had to make it the perimeter I wanted all the fog to fill in. Next, sea lanterns at the very bottom layer. After the sea lanterns, carpets. After the carpets, glass. After that, more glass. After that, more glass. After that, glass. And after that, guess what? Glass. After that, more glass. But I got a cool angle this time, so it's more interesting, right? After that cool angle, we have more glass, and then it was 1 more layer of glass before that's it for now. There is more fog to come, but before I could place the last layer or 2 of glass, I needed to extend down the white walls that go around the entire terrain, because those extend into the fog, and I needed to make sure I had those done first. And I can time-lapse that. With the walls of the platforms fully extended down into the fog, and the final layer of fog in place, all I had to do was add all the houses and fence posts that you see scattered around the fog and the entire Cap Kingdom. And with that done, all that's left is the sky, which sounds weird, but I do have to build the sky because there is no good color match for the sky. You know what I mean. I had to use a block, and I chose polished blackstone in the end because it looks the most like a night sky, bar the annoying grid lines. And once again, I have to do this part in play-by-plays. So first, we have this wall, followed by that wall, followed by that wall, followed by that wall, and last, but certainly not least, that roof. Which means we are done. The entire Cap Kingdom is now complete. Woo! Yeah, and a beautiful. I think it turned out pretty well. The first island is kind of boring, but that's because it's kind of boring in the actual game. There's nothing to it except that pond and those hills, so really not much I could do about that. Second island, everything is as accurate as I could possibly make it. Same with all the houses and posts in the fog. They're all placed in the best position I could get them. And yeah, everything is pretty much complete. Now, of course, there are some limitations in Minecraft compared to Mario Odyssey, namely roundness, such as these hills. If in order to make them round out nicely, I'd have to like triple the size of all of them, which would totally mess up the scale of everything. And same with this part here. Like, there's supposed to be a little layer of white underneath all of the gray, and it caused issues, but it's fine. Everything turned out fine. And here is some nice reference images so you can see how well I did. And it's worth noting that in these images, you might notice there's some slight differences. Namely these thingies that I can't think of the name of, because I was following my own version of Mario Odyssey, like on my own Switch. I had it in front of me the entire time I was building this, and I've already beat the game. So this is actually the completed version of Cap Kingdom once you beat the game, and it doesn't change all that much besides these things. So keep that in mind. But yeah, here are those reference images. And overall, besides the fact that that's definitely not a bell, I think I'm quite proud of it. You can walk through here, everything should be exactly the same as in-game, and it is entirely functional too. You know, I'm missing some things, like Peach should be sitting on that little mound, and there's a goggles over there and stuff, like little entities that I couldn't, you know, replicate in a one-block space in Minecraft. So some things are missing out, but it's not the end of the world. And if you walk on down to the bridge, you'll see that it's semi-functional, which is exciting. There is no easy way to get up in Minecraft because, you know, it's a 2-block jump, but I have a hidden ladder here. And if we go ahead and press this button, it will not take you to the sub area because I'm not building that at the moment, but it will take you to where the sub area leads you, on top of the hat. And it's exactly like you would imagine it. You probably couldn't see it in the time lapse, but these hills are indeed here. Black concrete is just a difficult block to look at. And if you eventually make your way up to the top, you will see the final boss fight platform, which of course has no boss because, well, I was copying the version of the game that was beaten already, and I am not building a boss up here. No offense. But yeah, that is the entire Cap Kingdom complete. Sorry about the visual glitches in the glass. Carpet doesn't like to load from long distances, but, you know, most of the fog effect is still valid. There's only so much I could do. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video, and that brings us to this button. And you might be wondering, what is this button for? It's just laying here in the middle. Where could it possibly take you? I don't know, but you know what? I'm gonna find out. Let's do this together. 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Could it be? I think I'm in the Cascade Kingdom. Wow, it looks so real.